Mr. Fola Aina.
Um, First of all, let me start by saying thank you very much, Yetunde, for this singular honor to be able to share from the little I know with the rest of us. And also, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are all across the world. Let me just give you a quick heads up. Your life is about to change radically. And at such moments, the first thing I'll tell you to do is make sure you adjust your seat properly. If you have a pen and a paper close by, you want to bring it closer. If you don't have one, well, I can give you a minute out of my time to go get one. But I can assure you the things you are about to hear will transform your life forever. The joy with speaking last is you get to hear what every other person has said. And then you can think, oh, okay, so this one has said this thing. I don't need to say this one again. Or, oh, okay, they did say this. Oh, okay, so let me add this. And there's a popular saying in Nigeria that the bottom parts of the pot is the sweetest part. So we're about to experience the bottom part of the pot. Like she rightly mentioned, I wouldn't waste time, retracing my profile. I'm sure all of us have an idea of what I've done, what it is that I do. But there's something I heard somewhere that says you should always have an elevator pitch. You know, when you're in front of people, what should people know you for? Okay, recently I got nominated for something, and in that nomination, I was asked, okay, so tell us in 250 words about you. And my God, I kept revising that essay because I was like, I can't even explain. But I realized, and this is something I found out about myself long ago. And I'll just quickly say it. For those who follow me on social media, they are probably going to be hearing me say this for the very first time. And if you ever wonder what my elevator pitch is, I'll quickly just say it before I proceed. In one sentence, my name is Fola Aina, and I am a solution to no solution. Where people have said there is no solution, invite me, I'll give you the solution. If you know yourself this way, it's easy for you to not get yourself involved in what you're not. I'll say that again. If you know yourself, it's easy for you not to get yourself involved in what you're not. It's the same way if you know yourself and people say, oh, can you be a part of this? It's easy to say, oh, no, this is not who I am, so I don't do things like this, okay? And I'll quickly proceed by saying, for the youth, because we're talking about the youth, so we're going to be very free. Again, a lot of people who are following here and who also follow me on social media have this impression that I'm a very, very serious person. Yes, in many ways, very serious, but at the same time, since this is a Zoom call, I'll try as much as possible to relax. In fact, I was about to wear suits and tie, but I asked my sister, should I just wear polo shirts? She said, wear polo shirt now. It's okay, thank God. People will not see me with suit and tie all the time, okay? So since we are having an interactive session, and as much as possible, I'll try to make it, an opportunity for us to learn as much as we can, and at the same time, also, interact with each other. So since we're talking to young people, the very first thing I want to start off with is this. You are not in a competition with anybody. You are not in a competition with anybody. In fact, the only competition you are daily with is who you were yesterday. I'll say that again. I told you to get your pen and your paper. I told you before we started. You are not in a competition with anybody. The only person you are in a competition with daily is who you were yesterday. So if who you are today is not an improvement on who you are yesterday, you are living on borrowed time. I'll say that again. If who you are today is not an improvement on who you were yesterday, you are living on borrowed time. Let us first digest those ones before we proceed. Okay? Now, having said that, because we're talking about skills and the skills you require to be resilient as a young person, I'll quickly say that there are two categories of skills you require as a young person. There are two solid categories of skills you require to remain relevant and resilient in today's world. These two categories can be categorized, one as soft skills and the second one as hard skills. Now, your soft skills are skills you must acquire as a young person, irrespective of your career path. I said that again. Your soft skills are skills you must acquire irrespective of your career path. Whereas your hard skills are very often skills you require in line with your career path. Your hard skills are skills you require in line with your career path. But let me also add a quick caveat that sometimes you also require certain hard skills to help you perform in your career path, even though they are not necessarily core to your career path. I'll say that again. You require certain hard skills to help you perform well in your career path, even though they are not necessarily core to your hard skills. Let me give an example. For instance, these days, you need to learn how to use Microsoft Word. You need to learn how to use Zoom to even be in this program with us. Now, if, for instance, you studied English, or you studied Hausa, or you studied Yoruba, and you say, because I studied languages, I don't require to know how to use Zoom, you won't be a beneficiary of this kind of session. So irrespective of what you study, there's certain hard skills you also need, basic computer skills. I will go into that very shortly. Now, having told you that there are two core skills required, soft skills and hard skills, what then are these likely skills? I'd like us to be practical. We've been talking about skills all day. What then are some of these practical skills? Okay, what then are some of these practical skills? Now, there's something called LinkedIn learning. Okay, there's something called LinkedIn learning. And LinkedIn learning tells us that there are some skills that we must acquire. Okay, some skills we must acquire to remain relevant. They listed 5 top skills that you must acquire in 2020 to remain relevant. The first they mentioned is creativity. You must be creative. As a young person, if you've been doing things in a particular way in the past, you must learn to do things in a different way going forward. So in other words, the things you did in the past that gave you certain results cannot be adopted today to get a different kind of result. And the threshold for that is creativity. You need to be creative in the execution of your assigned goals, objectives, and responsibilities. You need to be creative in how you do them. Also, you need persuasion. Persuasion is a skill. You need to be persuasive. And to take a word from persuasive that can be synonymous to persuasion is negotiable. You need to learn to negotiate. Part of what makes you unique, part of what makes you a good team player is your ability to persuade. If the team wants to go in a certain direction, you should be able to tell us why we should not take that direction. You should be able to tell us why, if taking that direction will give us only 5 results, whereas there's a prospect for getting 10 results, why don't we get 10? 10 after all is better than 5. How do you persuade us to go through your own line of thinking as against what it is we were originally thinking of doing? Very, very important. Very, very important. Okay? Very, very important. The next thing you want to do, the next thing you want to have is the skill of collaboration. You want to learn how to collaborate. As a young person, you don't know it all and you can't get everything done on your own. You don't know it all and you can't get everything done on your own. In fact, the new currency for progress today is no longer competition, rather it is collaboration. To make progress, you need to collaborate with others. You are not an island on your own. You don't know it all. The only way to get ahead, to forge ahead, is through collaboration. And when you collaborate with people, you are better able to get things done. The next thing you also want to learn is adaptability. You want to be adaptable to changing times. So for the past couple of months now, there's a global pandemic. How have you been able to adapt? Has it affected your work? Because of the global pandemic now, have you now said that, me, I cannot work again, I don't know how to use computer, when everybody's working on the computer? How have you adapted to changing circumstances as a young person? How technologically savvy are you to be able to blend into changing times as they were? And then also, we know you are very intelligent. We know you went to Harvard. We know you went to Oxford. You know you had a first class. You know you had a distinction. We know you are very, very intelligent. But how emotionally intelligent are you? If you have a colleague you are working with, for instance, and you understand that, this colleague, my boss paired me with this colleague, right? And every time we need to go a walk together, because I know that it is not about me, it's not about my ego, but it's about the work being accomplished. And this colleague of mine is particularly very difficult to work with. How do I work with their own terms? Let us come and tell them that, oh, Oga said we should do this, whether you like it or not, me, this is the way I'm going to do it. And they talk you're supposed to work on that thing. Emotional intelligence tells you that, Ogbeni, Oga gave us work to do, but not on a good day, man, you don't see each other. Joe, for us to receive salary at the end of the month, how can we put our head together and work together? Emotional intelligence. Not everything is gra, boom, boom, gaga. Even when you're working in a team and not in isolation, you need to know how to work with people. And that takes a certain skill called emotional intelligence. It is different from your certificates. Having touched upon those 5 soft skills, I want you to begin to think on your LinkedIn profile. Who has ever endorsed you for any of these 5 skills? Is any of these 5 skills showing anywhere on your LinkedIn profile? We'll still get to LinkedIn. But who has ever endorsed you for any of these sessions? Who has ever endorsed you for any of these soft skills? Which one do you know? As I was talking to you, yes, you. Which one do you know in your mind you can beat and say, Mr. Fola is talking to me? Which one do you know of? Now let's quickly go to certain hard skills. They mentioned 10 hard skills, okay? 1 is blockchain. Remember I said that, for instance, not all hard skills are necessary to your profession. But in this 2020, they mentioned that some of the most needed, that's what they use, the most needed hard skills will be 1, blockchain. 2, cloud computing. 3, analytical reasoning. Let's pause there. Now, again, irrespective of what you studied, you're a biomedical engineer, you are a neurosurgeon, you studied Hausa, you studied Yoruba, you studied Igbo. Whatever it is you study, you need a measure of analytical reasoning. How well do you process information in your mind? When your boss tells you to do something, how do you think through it? When you go back and report to your boss that, boss, this is the thing you told me to do. When your boss sees that work, does he feel as if, yes, you captured the entirety of everything he tells you? In fact, let's just be more practical. How many of you, when you're talking in front of your boss, go with your pen and your paper? How many of you take down notes? And how well are you able to reason through the steps required for you to carry out that assignment, to execute that assignment? Also, they talk about artificial intelligence, AI, robotics. These are things that are emerging. If you don't know about it, begin to know about it little by little now. Because the time is coming when everything will be driven by AI. UX design, business analysis, affiliate marketing, sales, scientific computing, video production. These are certain hard skills. Okay, and I don't want us to waste too much time on it because, again, like I said, not all of it is relevant to us. Then now I'll move again to the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum said in 2015, 5 years ago, there were certain skills that you must have if you're going to work well. 1, complex problem solving. 2, coordinating with others. 3, people management. 4, critical thinking. 5, negotiation. 6, quality control. 7, service orientation. 8, judgment and decision making. 9, active listening. 10, creativity. 5 years ago. Now, according to World Economic Forum, they're telling that fast forward 5 years, which is where we are now today, 2020, they're telling you that not all those skills are as relevant anymore as where we are today. You can see what is happening. So 5 years ago, if you had all those skills, you're looking at yourself as a champion. They're telling, Oga, calm down. Now we're in another 5 years old. Something else is happening, And according to the World Economic Forum, they said the top 10 skills, you need in 2020 to survive. Again, add COVID, with what is happening. The top 10 skills you need in 2020 to survive. Number 1 is complex problem solving. In the place of your work, a lot of people in Nigeria, when you see their CVs, under skills, they always write ability to work with little or no supervision. Ogbeni, calm down. What do you mean by that? Let us be practical. It just simply means complex problem solving. How well are you able to provide solutions to complex problems in your place of work? Again, in your place of work, every day you have a routine. You resume work 9, you close work at 5. But all through that routine, all through that day, you have a routine. For some people, and I mean no disrespect, again, just how some jobs are, particularly even in the civil service in Nigeria. Unfortunately, we all know this anyways. I'm not saying anything that we don't know. All some people do is carry files, lift up files and drop file. Lift up file and drop file. Now we understand that that's even your own job description, to lift up a file and drop the file. Fine and good. All on a sudden, the route you've been using to lift up the file and to drop the file, all on a sudden, a barricade was made in front of where you are, your desk, and to where you're supposed to deliver the file. Complex problem solving is asking, okay, now that something has changed the dynamics of how you've been doing your work, how are you able to navigate around that barrier to still achieve your work? How are you able to think outside the box? In fact, just earlier when we started the session, when Dr. Ekunda was talking, after his session, Mrs. Yetunde put up something about thinking outside the box. And I put out a chat in the comment and I said, who box up? Exactly. It's not even about thinking outside the box right now. It's about, see, box, we don't need you again. Because even thinking within a box is a limitation. And thinking outside the box is a limitation also. So in other words, when things are thrown at you, how are you able to navigate the situation? Oh, this is a changing scenario. I've never experienced this before. How can I respond to this? Do you start panicking? Are you the kind of person that you cannot do anything until you take instruction and your boss tells you, oh, since this is not possible, go about it this way? Or can you take initiative? How proactive are you in changing circumstances, in changing times? That's what it means to be able to solve complex problems. The next thing you need to know, according to the World Economic Forum, is you need to have critical thinking. Think critically. Okay, we need to get from Lagos to Abuja. And we know that to get from Lagos to Abuja, there are 3 ways to go. We can go either by walking, we can go either by road, that's by public transport vehicle, or we can go perhaps by air. Critical thinking tells you, okay, well, there are 3 different options. If I go this route, I will get to Abuja quite all right, but it may take me longer. But again, do I have the resources required to perhaps go by plane, which will take me faster? Your ability to navigate and think through these options is critical thinking towards a set goal and objective. Creativity. We've talked about being creative. You must be creative. You must be able to see possibilities in every situation. When I introduced myself, I told you my 1-minute elevator pitch is, my name is Fola Aina, and I am a solution to no solution. In other words, when you have concluded that there's no solution, invite me. I will help you find a solution to it. How creative are you? When you encounter a roadblock, what do you do? Again, like I said, it's not all about, I went to school, I had first class, and this is the best thing to do. I'm very good with all this. No, that's not the issue. That's not the issue. And we know you went to school, you went to Harvard, you went to Oxford, you have the first class and everything. Ogbeni, calm down. Oh yeah, shake body, do something with this certificate. How creative are you? Again, people management. People management. Take note, people management is different from emotional intelligence. How well are you able to manage people? Maybe you're a supervisor. How do you coordinate with people? How do you establish a rapport with the people you work with or the people you're entrusted to supervise? Do you just give people order anyhow? Hey, you, move there. You, come here. Hey, you, let's go there. Do you lead by example? Do you show the way forward? Do you listen to the concerns of people? Even when you're leading people and you've been asked to lead a team, do you wait to listen to them to hear what their challenges are in executing their assignments? Have you equipped them with the tools they require to perform well before blaming them? How well do you manage people? The next thing they talked about is coordinating with others. How well do you coordinate with others? Are you the company that says that, me, I don't know how to work with people. Me, I don't know how to work with people. Or if they have social events in your office, I say, me, I don't drink. Me, I don't drink. Me, I know they go. You're becoming an outcast. But when we know you don't drink, but it doesn't stop you from showing up. At least be part of the team. Show up. And respectfully, you can say, I don't drink. One day I found myself in the midst of a group of friends. And I've not met them in a long time. So everybody was catching up. And this is a very practical example. I don't drink. So when they said, They're asking each person, which drink do you want? Which drink do you want? What? In order not to feel as if, this Ogbenina is a pastor, will not make us feel comfortable. You don't want people to be feeling uncomfortable around you. When the waitress got to me, and she asked me, sir, what should we bring for you? We have Guinness, we have stout, I said, do you have ice cream? And they gave me ice cream. But at least I made others feel comfortable. As against saying, I'm not coming, no, I don't drink. I cannot shop in that kind of place. So, please, Egbami, you're not coordinating well with others. Okay? Emotional intelligence. I've given you an example of emotional intelligence. How do you relate with people? Even when you know the different team players in your team, the people you're working with, how sensitive are you to people? Even when you're working with somebody, for instance, and you notice that as you're talking to somebody, their mind seems to be somewhere else. All of a sudden, you just start shouting on the person. Can't you? I'm talking to you. Don't you see what I'm telling you? Calm down. A better approach may be, I've mentioned this to you before. I noticed you didn't realize it. I actually told you about this thing last week, and you still made the same mistake. Is everything okay? Everything okay back at home? Are you all right? In fact, you see that when you do that, some people all of a sudden from there, they just break down. Thank you so much for asking me. I'm going through a lot in my family. But how will you know when you did not ask? Yet you just came and you shut on the person. Emotional intelligence is everything okay? I see you're struggling in this. Do you want me to put you through it again? Or perhaps you want to try a different way of doing this thing? Or is everything okay at home? Have you had something to eat today? You want to try this later after you've eaten? For some people, all they need is just two or more. They're okay. Then judgment and decision making. How well do you make decisions? Okay? How well do you make decisions? Do you make decisions under pressure? Or are you able to take a step back and reason and look at the broader picture and say, right now, even though the easy way to go is by making this decision that will give me an easy solution, what are the long-term consequences? How well are you able to judge? One of my mentors told me something. He said his own boss told him something that he can go to bed at night with his two eyes closed, knowing that he is at the helm of affairs. And that struck me. How many people can say, concerning this person, if this person is handling this, don't worry, it will be sorted out. They will make good decision. Don't worry now. Maybe it's Mrs. Jetunde that is there. Don't worry now. That's a little problem. If I consider it done, how many people can say that about you? Or how many people, rather, on the other hand, if they hear that you're the one that's occupying the position, they say, you want to send somebody to be monitoring that person. That person's head used to touch sometimes. Just you know yourself, you know it's applicable to you. Now we go to service orientation. How equipped are you in terms of service orientation? Again, you know yourself. We talked about negotiation. How well are you able to negotiate through things? Do you use force because of the orga, my decision is final? Or do you negotiate with people? Do you reason with people? We have one objective. That's the overall objective of this organization. But I know there are different ways to go about it. What do you think? What idea do you have? Can we consider your own way? Okay, yes, I appreciate this way. But you see, the problem with this way is if we go this way, we may encounter this kind of roadblock. We can still try it, but it will slow us down. You, Mr. B, let's listen to your own solution. Okay, now I've heard what everybody has said, and I think this is the better approach as against yoga. You people keep quiet. Am I not paying you salary at the month? Did you collect salary last month? That is not the approach. You need to know how to negotiate, even with the people that are in quote and unquote your subordinates. And cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility. How cognitively flexible are you? Cognitive flexibility, by the way, is your intellectual flexibility. So for a long time, we know that you're an engineer, you're a mechanical engineer, and we know that you learned in school that the best way to remove one metal from point A to point B is by lifting it up with your two hands like this. We know you're very strong, we know you have muscle, and then you don't drop it. Good. Now, technology has said, okay, you see that same thing you're trying to move from here, the distance and the calculation to do it can be saved more efficiently, in a more safety way by deploying the services of a machine. Have you embraced that new kind of thinking? Or you have the mindset that, machine, they're not good, though. They just control people. Oh. This way, this one is evil tactics. So, how can machine be moving like this? Hey, what are they doing? These people are doing advanced juju. The question is, Ogbani, this is what is trending now. Have you gone to learn and update this thing? How flexible is your thinking to new ways of doing things? Again, like I said, I didn't call anybody's name, but you know the one that is applicable to you. You know the one that you need to learn and adopt. Now, having said this, because like I said, I wanted it to be a big practical. Having said these skills, I'll now go into other things. Okay. So far, so good. If you're learning, if you're hearing me loud and clear, just send a thumbs up so that I'm not talking to myself. Because me, I'm sweating here. Now, the next thing I want to mention is how then can I acquire these skills? Mr. Fola, you've been talking about this skill, you mentioned this one, you mentioned that one. See, sir, okay, how do I now acquire the skills? Now, have you seen some job description where you apply for a job as a young person? Okay, and then they tell you you must be 25, but you must have 10 years experience. Don't do like this. I must be 25 and have 10 years experience. Please, don't do this to me. Sometimes they don't care how you want to have gotten that 10 years experience. And some of them are one kind. They tell you, okay, if you have masters, that masters has taken away 2 years worth of the experience. If you have a PhD, the PhD has taken away 3 years worth of experience. But sometimes they're not even generous like that. They don't even say it. They just say 5 years experience and don't be more than 25 years. When did I finish university? With ASU strike. Now I should have had 5 years experience. What you need to do as a young person, and you need to listen to me very, very well now, is simply this. The first way to close this experience gap, to acquire the skills you require, is to first and foremost make yourself available. Are you available? You just saw one job on Facebook, on LinkedIn. You say, I studied engineering. I just finished from school last year. This is the best job for me. Okay, calm down. There are many people on queue. But when we look at your CV and look at the next person's CV, what is it that you have that that person does not have? What is it that sets you apart in line with all those other skills we've mentioned, both the hard skills and the soft skills, that sets you apart that that person doesn't have? Your work experience. And what is the most important way to gain work experience as a young person, as a youth, is to make yourself available. Go and volunteer. Go and volunteer. If they are paying you, it is a bonus. If they're not paying you, it's fine. Volunteer for 3 months. Volunteer for another 2 months. Volunteer for 1 month. Here, there, here, there, here. You see that 3 months here today? You see that 2 months here tomorrow? You see that 1 month here tomorrow? Add it all up to 12 months. It has become 1 year worth of experience. You have 1 year on your CV. And in different multiple roles, for that matter. In different multiple roles, for that matter. When someone sees your CV, they say, this guy is very hardworking, willing to learn. Just 1 year work experience, but that 1 year has been broken into 3 months here, 3 months there. They say, this guy, so nice, so flexible, so he has the spirit of willing to learn. This kind of person we need in this organization. In just 1 year work experience, you've made that 1 year work experience look very attractive. And the process, you've learned so much in just 1 year by making yourself available to volunteer in different places. A lot of times I see people who study social sciences. They just put up one job. They say, when did you finish school? I finished school so and so. Yeah. What are you doing now? I'm just waiting for my dream job. But when, what is your dream job? I want to work in the UN. I want to work in the UN. Calm down. There's nothing wrong with wanting to work in the UN. But what kind of experience do you have that makes you a UN material? What kind of work experience do you have that makes you a World Bank material? There are many other local NGOs in your community. Go and volunteer there first now. Go and volunteer there first. Then put it on your CV. So that when your CV now gets to the UN or gets to the World Bank, you can now see that this person has a track record of working in international development. This is the kind of candidates we're looking for. And in the process of volunteering to work, you begin to put those skills I mentioned into practice. You begin to sharpen them and you begin to acquire new ones. The second thing you need to do is your education. Okay, your education. Now take note that your education becomes redundant after 5 years. I say that again. Your degree becomes redundant after 5 years. So if you went to school, you finished your first class, and then fine, good, congratulations, good that you have first class. We hear that, that's fine. You have distinction, very good. Now, 5 years from when you finish your degree, what else have you learned? What else do you know that is new in your field? Even when you were studying, as you were studying, it's very important to also know that even for the moment you were studying your degree, things were already changing. And I mean no disrespect, because I know a lot of our viewers here are from Nigeria. A lot of the things we are taught, unfortunately, are not at par with what's happening in the rest of the world. So let me give a very practical example of myself. When I was in the university, by the grace of God, I graduated as the best student in my class. My first degree, I felt like a local champion. Then fast forward some other years later, and now by the mercy, by the mercy of God, they now mistakenly, I say mistakenly because they do not know who I was. They now mistakenly gave me admission to University of Oxford. When I now go to Oxford, feeling as a local champion coming from Nigeria, as someone who knows everything, who has been there, has done that, graduated as the best student. When they were talking in the class in Oxford, I was just looking like this. Hey, God, what are these people saying? God, what are these people saying? In other words, what you feel you know, what you feel you're a local champion at. From what people have left that address, they are discussing some other new trends that is happening. I found myself trying to struggle to catch up, struggling to catch up, struggling to catch up. Very, very, very important. Okay, it is not enough to say that I have PhD now. I've finished studying. No. Many you have the PhD. What else have you added to that PhD? In fact, for those who are taking note, let me quickly tell you something. The more you learn, the more you realize just how little you know. I'll say that again. The more you learn, the more you realize just how little you know. There is no end to learning. There is no end to learning. There is no end to learning. And let me give another practical example. I'm a political scientist, so I studied political science in the university, and I love political science. Okay, and when I was studying political science, just for political science is the study of governments, governance, the three arms of government, legislature, judiciary, basic things, executive. When I graduated, I found out that there are different subfields in political science. There's international relations. Under international relations, there's international security, there's international development. They're different, and even under these ones, there are different subcategories. There's climate change, there's adaptability, there's resilience, there's conflict. We know you are a political scientist, but as a political scientist, hey, you should be able to tell us something about these other places if you're truly a political scientist. You cannot just say, no, me, please. Me, just security, I'm specialized on. I don't know anything about federalism. I don't know anything about totalitarianism. You should know the basics. And how do you do that? You do that by adding to what you already know, by studying every single day. So I run a mentorship program where I have so many people that I take on as mentors. I mentor thousands of people, and I'm very humble to say that. And a lot of times people tell me, oh, Mr. Fola, I've seen your profile. I like what you do. I like, please, can you mentor me? And I remember I'm thinking, this one new, or this thing that is, all this Greek, just calm down. Now, when I immediately take them, the email I sent to them, in that email, one of the requirements to be my mentee is that every week you must finish reading a book. You must read a book, and you must read 3 articles outside your field. You must read a book, and you must read 3 articles outside your field every week. After the first week, next week, when I send an email, but Benny, how is market going? If my this was like this, so I would not have asked if you're a mentee. There's a price to pay from where you are to where you are heading to. There's a price to pay from where you are to where you are heading to. It's the same way you cannot enter public transport from Lagos to Abuja and just say, where are you going to? Take me to Abuja. They will just bungle you and remove you. You must pay public transport. It's the same way where you are in point A to point B. You need to pay something to get there. And what you need to pay very often is in the form of value. Skills, you need to acquire them. When you refine your skills, you produce out of you value. So you have certain skills. What people pay you for is not necessarily your skills, but it is your value. So value cannot be paid in its raw form. Value is paid in the form of skills. You convert and fine-tune your skills that make them become value that you give out. Okay? And then the next thing to talk about is mentorship, which I've only alluded to very briefly. That's another way to learn skills. So a lot of times, I say this to young people all the time. I ask this question all the time to young people. See, you want to be very rich, you want to be very wealthy, that's good. If you see Dangote today, what would be your first reaction? Trust young people. Yeah, me, sir, just give me 5 million. Baby. All my problem is solved. Just 5 million. Just 5 million. All my problem will be solved. Benny, if they give you 5 million, all your problem will not be solved. Don't deceive yourself. You have more problem, in fact. Okay? Rather, if you see someone you admire, someone you intend to be like, your first on doing is not to ask them about money. Is to tell them, Mr. Dangote, I know you're into cement, I know you're into oil, I know you're into sugar, you're into this and you're into that. I am a fresh university graduate. I studied this, I studied that. I'm very good with research. I'm very good with using the computer, Microsoft Word packages, presentation skills, report writing. How can I help you, sir, to achieve your own goals? To be producing more oil, to be producing more sugar, to be producing more cement. Offer value. First of all, the man will be thinking, who is this young person? This person didn't ask me for money. Yet they're telling me they don't want to help me achieve my own goal. Okay, here's my card. Send me email. And we'll take it from there. And then the next thing they tell you is, you said you're good at research. Okay. Research on this thing, blah, 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 for me. You have 1 week to do it. In 1 week, you do it. 2 things will happen. 1, you have built trust with your mentor. 2, in the process of carrying out the assignment, they will give you feedback that, okay, thank you, Fola, for submitting this. But next time, you want to adjust this place. Or next time, if I was to do this myself, I would have removed this, I would have added this, I would have made this place more critical, I would have added more examples here, I would have backed this up with more statistics. You're getting feedback, you're developing skills. So never, ever downplay the place of mentorship in the acquisition of skills as a young person. Look for mentors. And a mentor is simply someone who has attained a height you are trying to attain. I'll say that again. Your mentor is simply someone who has gotten to a height you are still trying to attain. Okay? Very, very important. Very, very important. Now, having said that, okay, and I've also talked about learning the trends in your area, in your field, knowing the latest trends. Read books, read articles, listen to podcasts. These days, in fact, you don't have to carry a physical book. You can read books on your phone, PDF. In fact, there's now audio. You can listen to books via audio. When I was growing up, I never liked reading. I saw reading as punishment. But this year alone, I've lost count of the number of books. Maybe because I'm doing a PhD on the one hand, but also even more importantly, because of my test to acquire knowledge. And I've given this example before. You know, when I spoke to some of my mentees, was my very first job. My very, very first job. Let me tell you how I got that job. So I entered the office I was recommended by someone. When I finished NYC, I was recommended by someone to another person, you know, and the person was like, this guy's the young guy, smart, you know, take him, he can learn from you and everything. So when I got into the man's office, my CV was already on his table. When I just entered his office, somebody else just entered his office, and then they started talking. My man was like, look at this man, he's just even wasting my time. But apparently, as they were talking, I was doing listening to them out of respect. I just put my head down, waited for them to finish their conversation so that he can interview me, let me know if I got the job or not, and I can continue my life. Immediately, the man left. The one that came to the office, immediately he left his office. The other man that was supposed to interview me just asked me one question. Everything this man was saying, he mentioned one place. What is the capital of this place? I said, God, this is a country that you hardly even hear about on the news. It's not one of those popular countries. So you even ask me where the country located. It's the capital you ask me of. But as God will have it, I'd read about that country long ago. So I knew the capital. Immediately he said it, I just told him the capital. You know, the man told me. He said, to be honest, I do not expect you to know the answer. But because you know the answer, you're working for me immediately. Resume tomorrow. That's how I got that job. And I did that job so well. In fact, at the point also, because this person I'm talking about, he's a perfectionist. When I was working for him, after I worked for him for like the first month, I wanted to resign. I wanted to resign. Because I felt there was nothing I could do that could please this person. Every work I gave him, he will go back and look at it. He will go back and look at it. He will change it. Until one day, like 5 years later, I now gave him one work. He told me to do the work and I gave him the work. He didn't change anything in the work. That was when I knew that I've gotten to the standard where this man feels that Fola had learned so well enough for him. To cut the long story short, this was back in Nigeria. The highest position in the land. I know we're very intelligent. The highest position in the land. That office, they sent a message to him that we are in my organization back then, we had about 2,000 staff. They told him that send us one person that will come and be working for us in this place. Out of the 2,000 staffs, he single-handedly chose me and told me to go and work for them. Now, if the man didn't groom me and didn't feel that this guy has learned well enough, would he have been able to send me to them? No. He would have been, but he has felt that I was going to a stage where he's so skillful, he's so good. Me, don't forget that from the first month, I wanted to leave the job because I felt like, this pressure is too much. This pressure is too much, And something similar happened to me also. Now, years later, while I moved abroad for my studies, I applied for a job. And when I was about to start the job, the chair lady of the committee told me to step out of the hall. I think I've shared this before. She told me to step out of the room, out of the panel room. When I stepped out, she told me something. She said, "See, we've never done this before. We're about to interview you, but I want you to know that as you go back in, whatever we ask you is the formality. We've already given you the job." My mind said, "Hey God, my village people, they followed me to this place. So what is the meaning of this?" They said, no. We've already given you the job. The reason why is because we came across a report that you wrote with someone. And we felt for you to have written this report with this caliber of person, you don't need to prove anything to us anymore. Skills that have refined over the years. There's a whole me writing a report. I don't want to mention the person's name. But they felt that yes, for you to have need to co-author a report with this kind of person, no, you don't need an interview. You don't need an interview. Refine your skills. Refine, even if you think you are very good at driving, one day something will happen that will humble you, that will make you know you don't know how to drive. Have you ever been driving inside rain? Heavy rain. And it's at night. You just humble yourself and park your car on traffic light that will to say, please, I know I'm good, I have driver license, but I cannot drive in this place anymore. Let us not deceive ourselves. So in other words, there is no end to learning. Even when you think you know very well, there's someone that knows it better than you. And if you're not adding and refining those skills, somebody else will come and take your position. Very, very important. Having said these basic things, I tried to make sure that this session was very, very relatable. I've used very relatable examples. Okay. Now I'll quickly say a few things to wrap up, because I know we're all tired. We've been listening all day, and I'll say a few things to wrap up. Okay. The first thing I would say is, as a young person, when you wake up, some of us here, because we're all young people, forget this beard you're seeing here. If I remove this beard now, I just look like one person that is in secondary school. Forget that thing. We're all young people here. Let's not deceive ourselves. Let's feel free. Feel free. If you have to open your shirt, be free. Okay? Now, as a young person, I know it's easy for your mind to begin boom, boom, boom. Calm down. Calm down. You see that social media, that thing is always taking your time. You need to be very skillful in social media. That's the first place you need to apply your skills, even in social media. And what do you need to do? The first thing you need to do is to be very, very, very mindful of your footprints on social media. Be very, very, very mindful of your footprints on social media. Just a few days ago, I posted something on Twitter. Okay. I said, if you can go through my timeline since I joined Twitter and you find anywhere where I abuse somebody, please unfollow me. How many young people can say that? If you find anywhere on any of my social media handle where I abuse somebody, I posted something very derogatory, please unfollow me. In fact, I got more followers. Now, there's you I'm talking to. Can you say that about yourself? Let's first start from there. I know you've removed shit. Can you see? I know you have to fight now. Can you say that about yourself? Do you know that in some applications, when you apply, they'll tell you, please tell us your social media name. You just said this way, you think I don't have sense. Don't have to tell me my social media name. I won't tell you my social media name. But when you write the name, you don't write the name, you will still go and check. You will still go and check. And sometimes everything on your CV ticks a box. You meet the requirements. But all of a sudden, they just found one tweet, one post you put. And what does the post say? I am the reason why your boyfriend and your girlfriend will leave you. Just remove shit. I am the reason why your boyfriend will in the mind, they say if we bring this to our organization, this person will be the reason why our money will leave this organization. They don't employ you again. Some of us are laughing. You know that I'm talking to you. But you know you've posted this thing before. You know you've posted this thing before. Mind your footprints on social media. Mind your footprints on social media. Currently, as I speak to you, and I say this very humbly, I am a consultant to an international organization. In fact, that international organization, I once applied to them for a program and they rejected me. Later, by themselves, they now told me, please come and consult for us. Me, my man, I said, I thought you rejected me the other time. But the question is, that's not mean the issue. The issue is, how did I get the job? I got the job through Twitter. If I was writing, I'm the reason why your boyfriend and your girlfriend will leave you tomorrow, I'm the reason why, they will also say, this guy, we don't need this kind of person. No. Watch your footprint on social media. As a young person, watch your footprint on social media. There are people who have gotten jobs on social media, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram. Don't just send DM to somebody. Hi, how are you? Have you had dinner? Did they send it to me? Why are you asking me that? What do you need from me? Can you be more specific? You don't have time for those things. You don't have the time for it. If you're not adding value to people, even the content you post, if it is not adding value, please desist from being on social media. And I'll say something very, because again, like I said, I'm trying to make this session very, very practical, because our speakers have done elegantly well. They gave us PowerPoint presentation, everything very nice. Me, and I said, okay, these are the bottom parts of the pot. Let me just make the decision practicable. So we can now, everything they told us, let's make it practicable. And I'll give you a very good example. I joined Twitter, for example, in 2015. And from 2015 to 2019, no, it's not 2009. So from 2009 to 2015, 6 years, I had about 2,500 followers. But I knew that there was something I had in my head that I wanted more people to know about. So you know what I did? I took a break from Twitter. From 2015, I took a break. And I came back in 2019. I took a break of 4 years. In 4 years, what did I do? I acquired 2 master's degrees. I'm almost completing a PhD. I went to refine my skills. I went to brush sharpen my portfolio. Don't forget that when I left, I had about 2,500 followers. When I came back in 2019, this time last year was when I came back. I have moved from 2,500 followers as of today to about 46,000 followers in 1 year. I could not have done that If I didn't separate myself, I'll take out time to go and refreshing and add to my skill or refine my skills. So it is the same person we knew about since so that was on the Twitter. The handle did not change, the name did not change. But all of a sudden, by the time I came back, people thought, there's something about this guy. This guy has gone to take brain. Eh? He has gone to take brain somewhere. Things something is happening now. This guy's skills are sharper. They are sharper. You need to take time. You need to take time to invest in yourself. Remember what the first thing I said is you are not in a competition with anybody. Forget about people that are shouting, calm down. Your only competition is who you were yesterday. That's your only competition. Who you were yesterday. The second thing you need to do as a young person is maximize LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not the place where you'll be posting picture. You say, I traveled to France, I did this here, I went to Canada. Calm down. You see, LinkedIn is the place to optimize your skills, okay? To target recruiters. That's the only thing you should use LinkedIn for. In fact, if you have ever posted, I'm the reason why your boyfriend or girlfriend will leave you on LinkedIn. God. Go and take down that post. Go and take down that post. You may do that somewhere else and get away with it, but LinkedIn, you need to take down that post. You need to take down that post. You need to take down that post. And the last thing you need to do is a lot of times, and we've heard you, Mr. Fola, you've done this, you said we should acquire this kind of skills, we should do this, you do that. I've done everything, but I'm still not getting the job. When last did you update your CV? You're living in Mabushi, you're living in Mabushi, your CV is showing that you're living in Pape. Even you too, why are you behaving like this? Why? Or your CV is showing a number that you're no longer using. You changed number 5 months ago. Your CV has not been upgraded. Yet we want to give you the job, but even that number we called, we haven't get you on that number. But why? Why? In fact, let me tell you something that will surprise you. As I speak to you, even today, I still updated my CV. I update my CV at least every week. Every week. And I'll tell you why. Because there are certain jobs you see. You cannot use the same CV to apply for all jobs. I'll say that again. You cannot use the same CV as a young person to apply for all jobs. Wisdom demands that on certain kinds of jobs, you want to capture some of the keywords on the word description. You want them to reflect on your CV. So wisdom demands that you've seen a job you like, go on your CV, adjust that CV, because you know you have those skills because not reflecting on the CV before. Adjust it in such a way that it shows. That's what wisdom simply means. Not that you're applying for a job of sales manager, and then on your CV you show that, but I studied carpentry in Lokogoma. Okay, yes, you know you studied carpentry, but why? So on the furniture you made, how were you able to sell them? We know you sold them to some customers. You want to also add something that shows that you have some experience in sales management to reflect the role you're applying for now. So I'll say this again, don't be lazy with your CV. Yes, you, don't be lazy with your CV. Every job you want to apply for, take time to clean up that CV to reflect the job you want to do. And there are professional services out there today that can help you present your CV. That means when you read the CV, you'll be like, is it me? Is it me? They're talking about like this. It's your CV. You'll be asking yourself, is it me they're talking about like this? Employ the services of a professional to review your CV for you. That money you're using to buy data that you're using to post, I'm the reason my boyfriend or girlfriend will leave you. Use that money to review your CV. I hope this session has not intimidated you, but has rather expanded your horizon. Thank you very much.